Good Sunday morning and welcome to Inside Tennessee. I'm one of your moderators, John Becker. The man with us this morning we're focused on was first elected to office in 1994, represented the state house, then on to the state senate. He was also mayor of Knox County for 2 terms and has represented East Tennessee and some 750,000 people in District 2 as a congressman since 2019. Representative Tim Burchett, we're glad you're with us this morning.
Thanks for having me, brother.
My colleague John North along as well. And let me start with this. What is the most pressing issue facing our country right now from your perspective?
I think debt. It's not real sexy, but if we don't get our financial ship in order, we will sink. We rely on the Chinese, and now we're talking about raising the debt limit once again. We've done it about 52 times. 82 times since about 1950, and so it's we've been doing it quite a bit. I don't know why we have a debt limit. I said if you got a $15 limit on your credit card, you spend $20, it's going to come back, but not with us. We just borrow more money.
You come from a state where we are constitutionally mandated to balance a budget in the state legislature each year. Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars at the federal level. But to John's point here, what is going to happen? We always see this debt ceiling go up, whether it's Republican or Democrat. Is that going to change with Republicans in control of the House?
I would hope it would, but you get 5 Republicans that side with the Democrats, then it won't. The thing that we do, if you look at any of the major debt reduction policies in the last couple of decades, there's always been they've raised the debt ceiling, but they've done it because they've said we've got an agreement. We're gonna if you'll allow us to do this, we'll put these savings in place. And the reality is we don't put them in place, or we do very limited amounts of them. And again, you're trusting Washington, and you're probably going to lose.
We've seen some members of Congress who feel so strongly about this that they think it's worth a standoff with the White House over something like this. Do you think we're going to face something like that again? We do have some members of Congress with very strong opinions, as you know.
Yeah, well, I'm one of them, actually. I say I'm conservative. I'm just not angry about it. But the truth is we've got to address this at some point. We just keep kicking this can down the road, and it's just we've seen this runaway inflation in the last couple of years, and we're going to see more of that.
If we have to circle one date, is it out in June when this will really come to a head, or do you think there will be some negotiation that happens earlier that can solve it?
They'll negotiate going up to it, and then it will be up against the wall, which is what we always do, and they'll threaten to shut the government down, and then if we do or if we don't, that'll be left up to a little bit later. But right now I suspect I can't imagine there's so much going on in Washington, but it seems to be a lot of the focus is on that.
Would you be in favor of shutting the government down if it meant forcing the issue on the debt ceiling and not raising it?
Yes, I would.
Just to repeat, you'd be okay with shutting the government down just to force the issue?
Absolutely. The debt is that serious, and we always blink, and we always trust the other side, whether it be moderate or well-intentioned Republicans and liberal Democrats, and yet it never seems to matter. We always go around it and say, okay, we're going to raise the debt, and then we go on and spend more money, and the same people get reelected.
Committee assignments came out in recent days. Again, you're back on foreign relations.
Foreign affairs,
excuse me. And one of the subjects that we've talked a lot about is the war in Ukraine. Are you in favor of sending more equipment to Ukraine and more money?
No, I actually voted against. We spent $100 billion with a B. We couldn't find $4 billion to secure our own wall, our own border. Russia's GDP is somewhere between France and Canada. They're not the superpower they once were. I think Putin's he's a loose cannon, but we're fighting a war right now, and now we're bringing Ukrainians over and training them. And this mirrors Vietnam. We sent the money over there first, and then they stole a bunch of it. And then we said, well, we're going to send armaments. We sent armaments, but they're technologically advanced, so we're going to send advisors. I mean, we're right in that sweet spot, and I'm anxious to get before one of the committees and ask some of the people, if not in a secure setting somewhere else, are there Americans, in fact, in Ukraine right now fighting under guidance of the American government?
should the United States be acting as it has since the invasion in February as the moral leader opposing and challenging Putin? Should the United States continue that position?
Well, from what I've seen in Washington, it's a stretch for the United States to be the moral leader in just about anything right now. I think we got to look at what's happened to the Uyghurs, a Muslim community in China, where we basically just given the Chinese the green light. We said a few things, but we haven't used any of our economic arsenal, so to speak. We talk a good game, but I think all those people that were cheering for the Ukrainian president on the House floor, I made the statement to somebody, are they going to be doing the same cheering when the Chinese go over in the Straits of Taiwan? And so and right now the Chinese are watching every move we make, every paper clip, every bullet, every dollar, and they're watching how we align with our allies and how it works through our Congress. And I fear that's really what the long play is.
So if you were president, how would your game plan for Ukraine differ than Joe Biden's?
I would have not. I would have brought them to their knees through our production of oil and other things. Because the first part of the war, what a lot of people didn't realize, excuse me, because of our contracts with Russia, we were funding both sides of that war, and we were kind of like the proverbial arms dealer, and so I think we should have done that first. It's always good to do the economic stuff first, and then if there's an option to look at war, but I don't think that's ever an option. I think we spent $100 billion, and I don't think we're going to have much to show for it.
We're going to take a quick break on Inside Tennessee with Congressman Tim Burchett. We're back with more of our discussion right after this.